Have you ever stopped to think about time? I mean, really think about it. It seems so simple, right? It's lunchtime for you, but it's the middle of the night for someone else on the other side of the planet. But it turns out time zones are full of all these bizarre rules and totally surprising secrets. So let's dive into the weird and wonderful world of time.
All right, let's start with a little pop quiz. Which country do you think holds the record for the most time zones? Now, you're probably thinking of a huge country, right? Like Russia or maybe the United States. Go ahead, lock in your guess. But I'm willing to bet the real answer is going to surprise you.
And here's another one to wrap your head around. What if I told you that you could hop on a boat, travel just a short distance to a neighboring island, and boom, you've landed in yesterday? I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, doesn't it? But it's a real thing, and we're going to find out exactly how that's even possible.
So what is going on here? What's behind all this weirdness? Well, it's this really cool mix of basic science, a little bit of history, and, some very human decisions that have made telling time way more interesting than you'd ever guess. Okay, so it all starts with something super simple. Our planet. It's a giant ball that's constantly spinning, and as it turns, different parts of it face the sun. So when it's bright and sunny where you are, it's dark on the total opposite side of the world. Time zones are just our way of organizing this global game of cosmic light and shadow.
But here's the thing, we didn't always have this nice, organized system. Nope, for most of history, time was a super local thing. Let's take a look at how that worked, or maybe more accurately, how it really didn't work. Just try to imagine this. Every single town, and I mean every town, had its own time. They just looked up, and when the sun was at its highest point in the sky, boom, that was noon. If you just walked to the next town over, their clocks could be a few minutes off from yours. This was kind of fine for a while, but then the railroad showed up. And a train schedule is pretty much useless if the station you're leaving from and the station you're going to are on totally different times. It was just complete chaos.
So yeah, the world desperately needed a solution. At this big international meeting back in 1884, a bunch of countries agreed on a really clever idea. Let's just divide the whole world into 24 neat slices, kind of like an orange. Each slice gets its own standard time, one for each hour of the day.
And that, right there, is exactly what a time zone is. It's just a big region where everyone agrees, okay, we're all going to use the exact same clock. It's the system that keeps our days and nights on a logical schedule and basically keeps the entire world in sync with each other.
Okay, so having 24 zones is a great start, but you also need a single point of reference, right? A starting line to make sure all those clocks are working together. You need a master clock for the whole planet.
Think about it. Any race needs a starting line, and for global time, that starting line is called the Prime Meridian. It runs through a place called Greenwich in London, England. It's this imaginary line going from the North Pole all the way down to the South Pole, and it's basically the 0 point for every single time zone.
And the official time at that starting line? It has a name, UTC, which stands for Coordinated Universal Time. Just think of it as the world's official timekeeper. Every other time zone on Earth is just a certain number of hours plus or minus from UTC. It's the one standard that pilots, scientists, and even the folks on the space station rely on.
All right, so we've got this system. It's based on science, it's based on logic, but this is where things get really fun because, well, people don't always like to follow the rules. Some countries have made some seriously quirky choices about how they handle their time.
So remember that question I asked at the very beginning? Which country has the most time zones? Well, the answer is France, with a whopping 12 of them. That's right, it actually beats out gigantic countries like Russia and the United States, who are tied with 11. I mean, how is that even possible?
So how on earth does France pull that off? Well, it's not about the size of France in Europe. It's because of all its overseas territories. You've got these islands and little regions scattered all over the globe, from the Pacific to the Caribbean. And because they're in different slices of the world, each one needs its own unique time zone.
And this shows you just how much time zones can be a political choice, not just a scientific one. I mean, look at Russia. It's so incredibly wide that it naturally covers about 11 of those geographic time slices, and it uses 11 time zones. That makes perfect sense. But then you look at China. It's wide enough to cover about 5 time zones, but the entire country officially uses just one single time zone. This means that if you're in the far west of China, the sun might not even come up until 10 in the morning. Wild, right?
And another one of these weird human rules we've invented is daylight saving time. You know the whole spring forward, fall back thing? The idea is to shift an hour of daylight from the morning to the evening so we have more sun in the summer,
Which is great, right? More time to play outside, and some say it saves energy. But on the other side of the debate, people say it completely messes with our sleep schedules. And let's be real, who hasn't been confused about what time it actually is when the clocks change? It's a huge argument, and a lot of countries have just decided not to do it at all.
All right, it's time for the final, and in my opinion, the absolute weirdest piece of this whole time zone puzzle. We have a starting line for time, right? The Prime Meridian. But what about a finish line? A place where one day officially ends and the next one magically begins.
To find this crazy thing, you have to go right to the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Out there's this imaginary zigzagging line called the International Dateline. It's pretty much a magic line on the map. If you cross it heading west, you instantly skip a day forward on the calendar, and if you cross it heading east, you get to live the same day all over again.
Believe it or not, entire countries can just decide to jump across this line. Back in 2011, the island nation of Samoa decided it wanted to be on the same day as its big trading partners, Australia and New Zealand. So what did they do? They just skipped a day. Frio. Everyone in Samoa went to bed on Thursday, December 29th, and when they woke up, it was Saturday, December 31st. The entire day of Friday, December 30th, 2011, just never happened for them.
And this takes us right back to that second puzzle from the beginning. The International Dateline now runs right between the country of Samoa and the territory of American Samoa. These two places are incredibly close to each other, just a short boat ride apart, but they live on completely different calendar days. You could literally celebrate your birthday on one island, hop on a boat, and go celebrate it all over again the next. Well, the same day.
So all of this is super cool and kind of mind-bending, but does any of it actually matter in our day-to-day lives? Oh, you bet it does. Probably way more than you even realize.
I mean, have you ever seen an ad for a TV show that says it airs at 8/7 Central? That's time zones in action. Or have you ever tried to call a friend or a family member who lives super far away? You got to think about their time zone, or you might wake them up in the middle of the night. Watching live sports from around the world, scheduling a video call with someone in another country. It all depends on this system. Even the International Space Station runs on a single time zone, good old UTC, just to keep all the astronauts from different countries on the same page.
So as you can see, time zones are this amazing mix of hard science, like the simple fact that the Earth spins, and all of these quirky human rules that we've made up along the way. It's a system we invented to make sense of our world. Which kind of leaves me with one last thought for you. If you had the power to change one thing about how we all tell time, what would you change? Would you get rid of daylight saving time for good? Or maybe you'd put the entire world on one single time zone? It's a pretty fun thing to think about.